Good morning, boys and girls. Today I am going to start with Fancy Nancy and the Mermaid Ballet. And this is written by Jane O'Connor and illustrated by Robin Price Glasser. This is Fancy Nancy, obviously. I have thrilling news. Thrilling means terrific and exciting all mixed together. We're going to be in a ballet, I tell my mom and Jojo. It's called Deep Sea Dances. I am positive, that's fancy for 100% sure, that Madame Lucille will pick Brie and me to be the mermaids. We play mermaids all the time. Jojo's kiddie pool is our lagoon. A lagoon is a fancy kind of lake. We pretend that our clubhouse is called Mermaid Mansion. Mansions are almost as big and fancy as castles. Our mermaid names are Turquoise and Sapphire, which are very fancy shades of blue. Here is my mermaid costume. I designed it by myself. So this is Nancy, and this is her friend Brie. The night before dance class, I perform for everyone. Not to brag, but I am the most graceful person in my family. Ta-da! I make a grand entrance. I do leaps that are called jetés, and knee bends that are called pliés. Don't you love how so many ballet words are in French? Ooh, maybe Madame Lucille will make me head mermaid. And then I lower my voice. Of course, I'll feel terrible if I end up with a bigger part than Brie. Nancy, remember, being in a ballet is thrilling no matter what part you have, said Mom. I nod. I guess my mom is worrying that Brie won't get a good part too. Today, I hardly wobble at all when I balance on one leg. And I am almost positive that Rhonda bumped into me, not the other way around. Twice, Madame Lucille says I am making progress. That is fancy for getting better. I say, merci, madame, and then I curtsy in the very special ballet way. At the end of class, Madame Lucille announces the parts. Brie and I sit together. All my fingers are crossed. I can hardly stand the suspense. At pickup time, I tell my dad the awful news. I am a tree, and I'm just an oyster, Brie says. My dad acts like this is so thrilling. Dad, you don't understand. My costume will be brown. There's no way to look fancy in brown. Later, we have a tea party to cheer ourselves up. I say, chérie, that's French for darling, you are going to be the greatest oyster ever. And Brie says, nobody will be a better tree than you. At the next dance class, we practice our parts. And guess what? I'm not just a plain old tree. Madame Lucille tells me to pretend I am a weeping willow. Willows are very graceful, Madame says. Their branches swoop and sway and swirl in the wind. I swoop and sway everywhere I go. I make my face look very sad because I am a weeping willow. A week later, there's startling news. Startling is fancy for surprising, only in a bad way. Savannah, who was one of the mermaids, has sprained her ankle. She cannot dance. But Madame Lucille tells us Savannah can still be in the ballet. She will be one of the oysters, and Brie will take Savannah's place as one of the mermaids. Say what? Brie throws her arms around me. She is beaming. That's smiling from ear to ear. I am so happy for you, I say. Only I don't really mean it. I liked it much better when neither of us got to be a mermaid. At home, I stuff my beautiful costume in the back of my closet. My mermaid days are over. When my mom comes to say goodnight, I tell her about Brie. I'm a terrible girl. I lied. I said I was happy for her, and I'm not. That's not lying exactly, said Mom. You want to be happy for Brie, don't you? Well, of course, she is my best friend. Well, it's just hard now because Brie got something you wanted very much. You're jealous, but your heart is so generous and warm, it will melt the bad feelings away. I am 100% positive that my mom is the wisest mother in the world. The next morning, I give Brie my fanciest shell tiara. It's yours for keeps, I tell her. I wish we were both mermaids, she says. Soon it's time to get ready. My costume is magnificent. My branches are made of tinsel, and I wear a little yellow nest in my hair. I am going to be the fanciest willow tree ever. The ballet is a smashing success. That's fancy for a big hit. And when it's my turn to dance, something happens. I feel carried away by the music. I swoop and sway, almost as if I were a real weeping willow. At the end, we all get a standing ovation. That means everyone jumps up and claps like crazy. My parents gave me a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Merci, I say. Mom, you were right. It was thrilling to perform in a ballet. We all go to the King's Crown to celebrate. Bree and I toast each other. That means we clink our glasses together and then we shout, "Bravo for us!" The end. I write that book. Okay, and the next one for today is another book that I've never heard of. I had never heard of Fancy Nancy either. This one is called A Kite for Moon by Jane Yolen, Heidi E. Stempel, and Matt Phelan. So they all work together on this book. Wow, this is kind of special. Whoever bought this book, this is a friend of mine, gave me this book to read. And the two of the authors, Jane Yolen and Heidi Stempel, signed this book. So that's pretty cool for my friend. It was morning, and Moon sat alone in the sky. The stars were all abed. No one below was singing to her. No one was sending up rockets or writing poems about her. No one was taking her photograph or painting her picture. Moon began to feel terribly sorry for herself. Down below, a very small boy flying his kite on the beach near his house looked up at Moon. "Moon," he called up to her, "don't be sad." He ran as far as he could, all the way to the edge of the water where Moon sat on the horizon. He tried to hug Moon, as his mother did to him whenever he was unhappy, but Moon was too far away. So he wrote on his kite, promising to come someday for a visit. And then he let go of his kite, sending it up, up, up for Moon. Days went by, years. Moon waxed and waned. She counted shooting stars and meteors. She worried about peace down on Earth and strange objects whizzing by. She eclipsed. Many nights the boy watched Moon through a telescope his father had given him. Many days he sent up a new kite for Moon. Red kites, blue kites, green kites, yellow. Some fell back to Earth. Some disappeared into the sky. And Moon watched the boy grow. There he is in the very beginning. He's a little boy. He's getting a little bit taller and older, and now he's a young man. Every day the boy studied hard. He learned his large numbers and his small sums. He learned algebra and equations. He learned geometry and tried to square the circle. He learned all about the sky and the moon. He learned to ride a bicycle, drive a car, fly a plane, and a rocket. He's an astronaut. Then one day, when he had learned enough, he went up, up, up in a big rocket ship with a fiery tail. "Hello, Moon," he said. "I've come for a visit." And the whole world watched. So this was dedicated to an astronaut named Neil Armstrong. And Neil Armstrong was the first man to ever set foot on the moon. So maybe when he was a young boy, he wanted to go up to the moon. And there he is coming out of the spaceship. That's his face. And then down the steps. And that was 50 years ago, this year, or actually 2019. So 50 years ago that Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. All right, guys, it was really fun to read to you again today. I hope you have a good day and enjoy your families. See you soon.